Simple. How do we change
Well,
it?
and yeah, so that's the thing is like, yeah, how do you change it? And that's where it, I guess, comes back just to you. And again, like you can't change the world. You can only change yourself, and you can help other people. And like like to me, I think the best way to help people is like to try and empower them. You know what I mean? Like to help them help themselves. And like even I think about stuff like, I'm not an activist or a philanthropist. Like I haven't like gone to these devastated places and like been on the ground and really helped. So like who am I to talk about saving the world? I mean, I'm on my own path. I'm just trying to figure it out for myself. And I mean, I want to help other people, but I need to help myself first. I need to know what it is that I'm doing. you know,
Absolutely.
and
You have to know what you want to do and what you want to leave behind you. I
yeah.
mean,
And so I think
not
like,
everybody wants to fly all over the world and go to the worst of the worst and be the strongest of the strongest. I mean, and there's lots of opportunity for us to be strong amongst just all this apathy. So, I mean, it's just as destructive. It just isn't, it isn't as many hungry people maybe, but it's this. There's still hungry people. They're not far away from you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's I mean, that's an interesting thing too, is that we talk about problems that are out there, you know what I mean? And like the problems are right here. You know what I mean? Like put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Like it's so funny cuz like, I'm going through all this personal work, and trying to figure out like what I'm trying to figure out. And having all these like revelations, and then I walk out my front door, and here I am online with this like amazing global community of people that I love. You know what I mean? Like all of you guys who are always commenting on the blog and like we were interacting and on Twitter. It's like, I mean, like you're actually really important to me. This is like really like this kind of weird cosmic family that I've never experienced before. But then I come and I turn around and I look at my local community and I'm like, I don't even know my next door neighbor's name. Like I don't know what they do for a living. I don't know, like I'm like, holy shit. Like I gotta live. I gotta live what I'm talking about. Like today was like so crazy. I went over to my next neighbor's house, and he brought me a fish. Like he went fishing in the river, and I caught this like 36-inch striper. I don't know if you saw it, like I like tweeted it, and he's just like, yeah, we got an extra one. Do you want it? And I'm like, yeah. And like, my husband, filleted it, whatever, and like now we have fish, and I'm just like, dude, someone just like gave us like food. And then like I was planting my garden today, and I had a bunch of like leftover onions, and so I went back over to that neighbor, and I was like, hey, I have these extra onions. Do you want them? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he goes, I'm planning on planting a fig tree over here in my backyard. I got to dig up this area in order to make it fit. And I have this huge space where our two properties border that's just empty, and it's like it has a ton of sunlight. That's like the perfect spot for like a tree. And I go, do you want to just put it right there? And he like, kind of looked at me and was like, that would be great. And I was like, yeah, it just makes sense. Like, why don't you just put it there? And he's like, yeah, thank you very much. You know what I mean? And then I walked out the front door and I went to like grab a couple beers, and the neighbors across the street were sitting on the porch. And I walked across the street and I go, hey guys. And they're like, hey Vanessa, how you doing? You've been busy. I never see you anymore. I'm like, oh God, like whatever, school and my blog and blah, blah, blah. And we just like, we're just shooting the breeze for 10 minutes, and then I like ran out. And I came back home and I was like, whoa, I just had these like awesome interactions with the people that actually live near me. And that was like really meaningful. And like, why don't I do that more often? Like, like it's just,
Oh,
it's like simple things, simple. That doesn't have to be so overcomplicated. It's just be a friggin' good person, you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Try it. Just try to be a good person, that's all. Just try to be nice. Just share. I mean, it's like, sometimes I
well,
feel like
it's
I'm
more than that.
crazy.
I mean, you're reaching out, and that's more than just being nice or good. That's a conscious effort to connect, which is way more than just being good. Because you could be good without ever talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is about reaching out. Well, yeah, it's about the connection, like, yeah, I mean, that was my
Have you isolated
realization.
yourself most of your life?
Huh?
Have you isolated yourself most of your life?
Yeah, I have been isolated. I've been like afraid of people. I've been afraid to like talk to people and to show who I really am. You know what I mean? Because I don't fit in. Like I've always been like the weird one that like, you know what I mean? Like I can't talk to people because they don't understand what I'm talking about and they're not interested in what I'm interested in. And you know what I mean? And they're like, hey, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go to work, and I'm like, hey, look at this flower, and they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm just like, like I just thinking and talking about things that are different than most people, and it's like, so you get to the point where you just like the hell with it. Like there's no point even trying to like talk to people anymore.
well, I mean, you are talking to people.